Hi and welcome to Annalise Maths. Today we're going to be looking at how to express one quantity as a fraction of another. When expressing one quantity as a fraction of another, we need to remember what we learned in the What is a Fraction video. Our bottom number, our denominator, is our total of things, and our top number is what we're talking about. So for example, if I wanted to write £5 as a fraction of £20, 5 is what I'm talking about and 20 is my total, so it would be 5/20. I need to make sure I've read the question very carefully because I could get something along the lines of, in a class of 30 pupils, 12 are girls. What fraction of the class are boys? Now my denominator, my bottom number, is my total, so I know it's 30 pupils, so it's going to have a denominator of 30. It's asking me for the fraction of boys. Now, if there's 30 pupils and 12 girls, the remaining pupils are boys. So 30 minus 12 is 18. So the fraction of boys is 18/30. You need to check out my simplifying fraction videos as well. Sometimes these questions ask you to simplify, sometimes they don't. If they do not ask you to simplify, don't do it. Don't do additional maths that's not necessary. It could be that you make a mistake and lose a mark. So if it doesn't ask you to simplify, don't simplify, but make sure you do if it does ask you to. So let's have a look at an example together. So what I would like you to do is pause the video and give this question a go. So here is a table of the total number of cars in a car park, and I would like to know what fraction are black, white, red and not grey. I would like you to simplify in this case. So please pause the video and we'll have a look at the answers. Okay, hopefully you give that one a go. So the first thing we needed to work out on this one is what was our denominator. Now our bottom number of the fraction is our total, so I would have needed to have added them all together, giving me a denominator of 50. So hopefully these are the answers you got. So 25/50ths were black, so that's simplified to a half. 10/50ths or a fifth were white. 5/50ths or a tenth were red, and not grey was the remainder without the grey. There's two ways of working this out. Not grey, I could have said, well, there's 10 grey, there's 50 cars, 50 take away 10 means 40 and not grey, or I could have added up my other colours. Let's have a look at what this might look like in an exam situation. So here's an example of a non-calculator question worth 3 marks for a level 2. So give this one a pause, give it a read through, and we'll discuss it. Okay, so let's have a look at this one together. So she works in a mobile phone shop, 19 pay-as-you-go, 57 SIM with handsets, the remaining was SIM only. She's made a total of 114 sales. What fraction was SIM only? Simplify. So the first thing I know is that she's made 114 sales, and I know the remaining sales were the SIM only. So my total sales, 114, I know that's my denominator. So I need to find my numerator. So I know that it's the remaining was SIM only. So mark number 1 in this question was for doing your 114, take away your 57, take away your 19. So that was mark number 1. So if you took all of those away, you ended up with 38. So 38 was SIM only. So mark number 1 was for getting your 38. So don't forget to show all your working. I would have shown in an exam situation, I would have shown my 114, take away 19, take away 57. I would have had to have done it longhand because this is a non-calculator question. I then needed to simplify. So simplifying, I could divide by 2, and if I divide by 2, I would end up with 19 over 57. 19 and 57 also both divide by 19, so my final answer would have been a third. So with this particular question, I was getting 1 mark for my 38, so if you got 38, that was mark number 1. I was getting mark number 2 for my 38 over 114, so always write it out in the full form first. And mark number 3 then was for fully simplifying. Let's have a look at two more questions. Now these are both on a calculator paper and these questions were worth 2 marks each. So give this a pause and give these a go for me, please. Okay, so let's look at this first question. In this first question, he made 48 in the shop, 76 sales online. What fraction were made in the shop? Simplify if possible. So I would have needed to add those together and that would have given me 124. So my sales in the shop would have been 48 out of 124. This would have been mark number 1. I then would have simplified. Now it simplifies down to 12 over 31. If you're on a calculator paper, don't forget you have the calculator, you have a scientific calculator. The fraction button on your calculator, which looks like 2 squares with a line in the middle, if you click on that and you type 48 over 124 and then press equals, your calculator will simplify this for you. So don't worry about it when you're on a calculator paper. This second question, write 760 grams as a fraction of a kilogram. Now kilogram is 1,000 grams. We'll look at measure conversions in another lesson. But whenever you see kilo, whenever you see that K, so kilogram, kilometre, think of social media. What does a K mean in social media? If you found a video that had 2K likes, it's 2,000. So it's the same in maths. Whenever you see a K, it's 1,000. So mark number 1 for this one, again, would be for writing it out fully. So 760 over 1,000, that's mark number 1. Again, type that into your calculator using your fractions button and it would simplify down to 19 over 25. Let's have a look at one more. So this one, again, a calculator paper. This one's worth 4 marks, so there's a lot of maths to do in this one. So pause this and give it a go for me, please. Okay, so on this one we know about Zach's two jobs. He works in an office and he works at the gym on a weekend. We need the fraction of his total income and what fraction of it came from the gym. So the first thing I'm going to need to work out is what Zach earned in both of his jobs. So if he did 12 months earning 26,000 a month, 12 times 26,000 gives me 31,200. So 31,200 was his total income from the office. 39 weekends at £80 a weekend would have, if I times those two, I would have got 3,120. So that was his income from the gym. Mark number 1 on this question would be for working out either one of these. Mark number 2 then for this particular question was it asks us for the fraction of his total income. So my denominator is going to be his total income. So I would have needed to have added these two together. When I add these two together, I get 34,320. So mark number 2 would be for that. Now it wants the fraction of his work from the gym as a fraction of his total income. So his work from the gym gave him 3,120. So by putting my 3,120 over my total, my 34,320, that was mark number 3. Again, it's a calculator paper, so if I type that into my calculator, it would have simplified to 1/11, and that was mark number 4. That was my final answer. One of the good things about the exam board is that they only penalise you for a mistake once. So if I'd made a mistake with my calculation here, I still would have got my process mark. So make sure you show all of your working out. Write out your total sum. And that would have got your mark, because if I'd done that and then made a mistake with my final answer, I would have still got my process mark. I could have made a mistake here, and that mistake obviously would have then fed into my working out my total mistake. I still would have again got the process mark for that. So if I'd made a mistake here, let's say I transposed my digits and ended up writing 13,200 13,200, which obviously I know is the incorrect answer, but I still would have got my process mark for this. And if I then added my 13,200 to my 3,120, I still would have got my mark for working this out as well, because they're not going to penalise you. I wouldn't have been able to get my final mark, but I still would have got my mark for working out. So make sure you show all of your working out, because you're getting a lot of process marks with this. As always, any questions, please pop them in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to continue making videos on all of the different topics, so hopefully this will help, and best of luck with your studies.